Yeah. Turn a roll. Bass junkie. Cut through. Yeah. 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 Group chat jumping, same old drama. Screenshots, think pieces, recycle karma. Timeline loud, but the truth sound quieter. Mute half the world, now my head feel lighter. Crypto bag small, but the brain compounding. DCA faith when the chart flatlining. They sold dreams, Lambo win a month, quick flip. I want land, less rent, more ownership. AI talk at the table, late takeaways. Who code the rules, who choose the maze? They want our face, our voice, our data. We want our time back sooner, not later. Through the noise, let it fade in the background. Talk your talk real low, still surround sound. Same cold world, but the kettle stays on. My boys, soft light, deep chat, we just cut through the noise. Through the noise, let them scream in the scroll bar. We stay here long form, talking from the gold heart. Same my world, but we're calm in the void. Cup in hand, good friends, yeah, we cut through the noise.
Yo, and welcome to this edition of Cut Through the Noise, the weekly talk show hosted by myself and Toro, where we give real takes on what's been going on this week in crypto, AI, and the overall ecosystem. Guys, as always, if you can show some love and smash the retweet, let people know where you are this fine Thursday morning, afternoon, or evening. Now, as always, let's pass the ball over to my wonderful co-host, Mr. CEO himself, Toro. How are you, my man?
Good, man. This is like episode 7 or 6, I think, right now. So we're
Really good flow.
Yeah, we almost hit them double digits, man. So you know me. There's never a dull moment in crypto or Web3. Even though I've been like a hermit, I'm still getting the the spikes of the week, the trends, the situations, the mishaps, the fallouts, the pumps and the dumps. So it's good to be here. We got a lot to cover this week, definitely.
I mean, you said it absolutely perfectly. Like, there is never a dull day in crypto. Always things going on. And speaking of dull, I mean, to be honest, today I wished it was a bit duller because I just got rugged. It's the first time in a while, and I tell you, I had two feelings. My first one was like just like refreshing my phone. Like, wait a second, that number was bigger before I jumped in the car like 20 minutes ago. Like, like I lost like $1,000, so it sucks. It's not fun. So my first thought was like, oh shit, that happened. And then my second thought was like, man, just fucking be better. People that rug tokens, just be better, do better. Like, this is 2026. There's so many opportunities around us. Like, is this the only way that we know how to make money? Like, come on, do better.
Yeah, man. It's the same from the top to the bottom. If you really look at how many VC run or funded, or how many privately funded situations, the ones that got the attention of the trenches, how much of that actually had retainable value? How much of that was actual true tech and innovation to our space? More than 90% of it was vaporware. More than 90% of it was garbage. More than 90% of them are not even talked about at this point. And it's starting to become a regular thing where people think that pulling rugs is a cool thing. Where are my scammers at? Where are my scamming dudes? Where are my scamming ass niggas? I'm hearing this bullshit on TikToks and IGs and Twitter. And it's unfortunate that the real builders in this space are not getting their positions as they should. Because why? You put real builders in position, and this is free sauce. You put real builders in position to build, a lot of the scams are going to go away. Why? Because people's expectations go up. If you're spoiled to actual have utilization and buying into a project that has value that retains over the years, you're going to start expecting that from all these other projects. And especially if it was distinguished or masked in like a degenerate way, a mimetic way, something that people can create means behind or create like a social factor behind, you're going to start expecting that from these other shit tokens, right? These other shitters. And that's the problem. They don't want that to happen because cabal, syndicates, scammers from different generations of onboarding into this game, dick glazers, glizzy gobblers, whatever you want to call them, they don't want you to actually get behind stuff with value because that will slow up. I see that from these grant competitions. I see it from these VC cosigns. I see it from these KOL cosigns on the timeline. And I'm like, I wonder what would happen if you added that factor of resources and influence behind something that actually has value, something that you can actually say this innovates the benefits and the positives of Web3. What would that look like? And we're not going to find too much of that in the bear markets, unfortunately.
Mumville here saying you're dropping the truth. Absolutely. Truth bombs left and right. It is sad that real projects don't always rise to the top, and that at the end of the day, I think the vast majority, I mean, like myself included, I want to make money. Like we're all in it. We're in space to make money.
Of course.
And, speculation is part of the beast, and with it's never been easier to build. So with so many new projects continuously popping up, continuously promising the world, and it's like, unfortunately, right now we're seeing quite a rotational market. Like for example, earlier in the week, did you see the whole fiasco? There is a sleeping giant on base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That whole fiasco, the meme coin. Okay, so for people that are watching, maybe just to rewind 2 steps, what the whole sleeping giant debacle was. Ansem, one of the biggest KOLs in the space. Shout out Goya. So Ansem, one of the biggest KOLs in the space. He's been tweeting a bit more about Base is on his radar, as the world is sort of tuning in to Base. The markets are sideways, they're slumping down, but Base has been having a bit of an AI season defiantly in this bear market. So this caught the attention of external KOLs, some Solana degens, and profit takers are coming over, and he posted, "There is a sleeping giant on Base." Then the Base team, in typical fashion, tweets, retweets, "There is a sleeping giant on Base and nobody's talking about it." Now, when I first read this, I thought this was saying the next big business idea is happening on Base and nobody's the masses aren't speaking about this. This was my personal take on it when I first just saw there's a sleeping giant on Base. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. There's going to be 100 million runners, 1 bill runners. I mean, and even talking about runners is kind of in a tradey sort of way to say it, but like real businesses that are building gigantic things. This was what my mindset was. But it turns out there was, in fact, a meme coin called TSG, which was the sleeping giant. Let me see if I can pull that chart up real quick. And once you see the chart, you'll see clearly why this has divided people's opinions. Oof, not that chart. This is the chart that I just got rugged on.
As usual.
This is Open Human. This one we can talk about in a minute. This is one that that's the one that raped me today. But TSG, the sleeping giant, boom.
It's so fucking funny, man.
Dude.
It's so hilarious because when I met SM, he didn't even have $5,000 to his name, and he just had a brand new baby. I got the receipts for everything. I remember I practically raised him and a couple KOLs in that situation when I used to run that group chat, the Shadow Clan. I still got all the receipts to this day. I will never take away from what that man did on Soul, because when I met him, he was on ETH, But that whole era, right? The Lil Moon Lambos, the FOMO Saurus, all in that chat, all of them, highs and lows. And to see the same bullshit just keep happening. At this point, this is why I went interoperable, and this is why we are focusing on a much bigger demographic, because it seems that loyalty is not truly valued. It's all about the quickest clout rush slop of shit that can extract every single cent you have to your name. And I don't understand why anybody thought SM was going to bring a wave to base that was going to be dynamic, when we clearly can see from the examples of actions of what he's capable of doing. And it's a whole syndicate of these KOLs behind the scenes that have private chats, orchestrate a lot of this shit, telegrams. A lot of these guys are even signed to marketing agencies. If you saw that and saw, like, you know, Jesse retweeting that shit and all these guys getting behind that bullshit, I thought y'all should have learned from the Kobe situation, right? You know, they're trying to find a foothold, and they're trading dollars for clout, and that's ass backwards. You feel me? Building a dynasty gets you the solidification. You already have a brand that's backing you that's damn near invincible at this point. There's no need for this hushing, inside trading, clout chasing slop of shit that we're seeing. And it seems like this shit never gets old. But I went from that minute of realizing that, look, if you are truly a builder in this space, build like there is no tomorrow. Build like the rent is due. Build to the point that what you build they can't ignore, and maybe they want to sit at a table with you, and maybe you even may not even want to entertain a situation like that at that time, because your options will be much more wider and much more of a bigger variety. So I'm just telling guys, like, when you see this, I saw the timeline how it was split, but it's like, what do you guys expect at this point? You know, the base is not absolved to the same trench nonsense that all these chains are. We hoped it to be, but we realize it's not. So I can relate on the ends when people are like, yo, they're losing faith, they're losing trust. I can understand that. But at the same time, we're looking from the lens of the longevity of the ecosystem and brand positioning in these trenches. They're doing what they feel is going to keep them relevant. I don't agree with it, but at the same time, what absolves them from the same shit that we've seen on every single chain since the beginning of this thing?
I mean, the only hope that people have is the community, because at the end of the day, if the culture is about building projects and businesses of substance, then clearly it sort of indicates like, no, we're not interested in this shitcoin pump and dump fiasco. But then the sad truth is, seeing charts like that at the end of the day, people will go to the shiny red apple, knowing that, you know, there's like, it could be poison. And yeah, of course, people make money on the way up, but a lot of people lost money on the way down. And you know, I was looking at the Ansem tweets afterwards, and it's like, no mention of base, no mention of base. This is not a genuine, like, hey, I'm looking to get more involved. Just a few fluff warm-up tweets. Hey, show me the ticker on base.
That he owes some IG model that he's been simping over, the latest IG girl, and just try to offload some bags to her. It's the same shit, bro. Like, this is a bear market, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I keep telling you guys to look at what really matters. I keep trying to tell y'all the game, because I'm getting old. I'm getting battered. I've been, I guess, blackballed from this industry. I have no idea. I don't know, because I'm living fucking comfortable. But it's at the same time, it's like y'all missing the fact that, for example, Ethereum got rejected from key resistance. I keep telling you guys, ETH under $2,000 is a fucking steal. And we're sitting 2,100. We're right on the mark of a huge disco, and you guys are throwing your balls to the wall over shit coins, over shit. Like fundamentals do not matter at this point to you guys, and I see it. I'm not going to degen and YOLO into anything in these choppy weathers. I'm looking at the bigger picture, where smart money's waiting for, what smart money's waiting to sink their teeth into. You know, there's so many moving variables. How could you center and be distracted by the same two-step? You paying their bills, guys. You're paying for the yacht party. Y'all paying for the rented Lambos and the Airbnbs all around the world, like, and the cocaine habits. I'm telling you guys, man. I'm telling you, bro. I've been to these events, man. Your favorite KOL is nothing but a doped up junkie laughing his life off that people somehow believe him. You heard? But y'all not going to take it from me, right? Y'all not going to take it until a certain Twitter tweets it, or a viral moment, or if I crack open the safe and show you 2 APs and a rollie. Y'all not going. If I take outside to the garage, y'all not going to hear it until it's in your face for real. You know, so you have to feel it, and that's the problem. No matter how much we try to scare the masses from the slaughterhouse, just like sheep frolicking, they just one out there another. While the smart money is positioning themselves to increase their purchasing power. You know, the money goes up on this pyramid scheme, not down, guys. I gotta understand that. Self-preservation is the number one rule in this game. I promise you, Base Junkie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, Warren Buffett said it well, that was it like money flows from the impatient to the patient.
Bingo.
And that's what the trenches is. It's a way to level up, get from 100 to 1,000, from 1,000 to 10, 10 to 100, and just, you know, level up your savings, your investment, your purchasing power. And that's the allure of the degen, because nowadays life is more expensive than ever, and especially for like younger people who, you know, are basically looking down job replacement with AI and maybe directionless, and it's like, shit, I need to make as much money as I can now, like ahora, like today, because, you know, I can't be a wage, just, you know, working for a wage for the rest of my life, because what's going to happen? I'm going to lose my job, and, you know, now dating pool is harder than ever. You know, like single guys are saying, like, you know, I'm like, they're doing the maths, and they're like, okay, now it costs a couple $100 to go out, you know, for a date, like maybe $200, $300
for one date.
For a date.
Over 50% males have never been married, let alone have kids right now. You know, our society's tying what's in your pocket to a man's value and masculinity, and tying a woman's sexual appetite and her body to her value of how she can position herself. At the same time, causing this division between males and females. That's why the divorce rate is so high. You know, we're a war on ends. The nuclear family shall never be rehabilitated or ever fixed. And the world's still spinning out of control. We're not covering the virus. We're not talking about the fact that Hamas might be opening back up. We're not talking about the fact that the Israel president announced the real reason for this war is to draw the oil pipes through Israel, which will cause them to control over 40% of the global oil supply. We're not talking about the real stuff, right? But we get caught up in these little day-to-days, doom scrolling, clickbaiting, clout chasing, and rugging. What is the means of our society at this point? It's
pretty degenerate. It's, you know, steal from your neighbor. Just, you know, just trying. I mean, the thing is, I guess that they don't really consider people online as neighbors. The people that are doing like these rugs, like, just, I don't know, man. Society is degrading in real time, and it's sad to witness. But, you know, that's why we just need to carve out our network, and, you know, just, I guess, focus on things within our control. That's all we can do, really.
Their days are coming, and I'm not saying this as a hopeful. I know personally, first with hand, of individuals that have taken the back seat and have made more money than I have, right? And have gotten front row seat to seeing the unmasking. The crypto space is going to go through a huge purge. All you cocksuckers that have committed crimes over the years and thought that you got away with it, the ground beneath you is going to be swept up underneath your feet. And I don't say this with hopeful wishing. I say this with definite you know, because I'm also contributing to that. And and they learn. Not all the players at hand, they're not putting themselves on Front Street because they learn from you scammers, not that these invisible enemies. You don't know who's really calling the shots in crypto, because if you knew, right? Who's really doing what. And they learn this. So not even Tornado Cash is safe for you guys. The feds prove that. The word to the Lazarus Group, right? So it's like, your time is coming. Enjoy it while you can. Some of you guys may get out because some of you guys are so juiced up that you may slip through the cracks. But a majority of you guys, the butchering is coming. That's why you're starting to see your favorite KOLs for the last few years starting to put their shit on private, slow down on the tweets, slow down on the promo runs, switching wallets. It's too late. Because you know what happened? You should have stood over the people that you did wrong and double tapped them, right? You gave them room to grow, to learn, to make their money back and more, and have that shit living in the back of their head rent free. How you did them, how you took money off their plate, how you took food off their table for their loved ones. And you guys thought that you guys can get away with it. You're going to be surprised. Some of the KOLs that are going to be exposed. You're going to be surprised how these fair-faced fuckers really look in real life. And I'm telling you this with all my soul and will. I know firsthand. You think Zach XBT is a hero? Wait till you see what's about to emerge, right? And these guys don't even want no credit. They already kissed that money that you guys have robbed them goodbye, because they see your spending habits, but they want to get even, right? And I fully support them, because you guys keep stepping on the little guys. You guys keep extracting from people that don't really have it to begin with. And it has to stop. There's not a balance. There's not a balance in this space, right? There's no consequences for this treachery that keeps committing over and over and over and over again. There has to be examples being made of these guys. And that's what's about to happen. Surely, people have been waiting for these moments for a long time. This is chess, not checkers. I keep telling y'all I've been saying this for years. This is chess. And you guys don't see the pieces that are moving on the board. I promise you. It may hurt today thinking about how these ruggers did you, how these scammers did you, but I promise you, a lot of them are getting their dues. I promise, coming full circle.
Well, I think that's going to be music to a lot of people's ears. I do want to follow up with the like a question on the Zach XBT, and then I'll tell you a little story that I had, like literally peeking behind the curtain of all these rich KOLs.
Right.
But please, you mentioned Zach XBT. He's like the neighborhood good guy, crime watch, your neighborhood friendly sleuth.
He's just a guy that you don't want to piss off. And he's a guy that has the capabilities of looking the other way. If he considers you a friend, if you've given him enough money, he won't bark up your tree. Though he's helped recover and work with the feds, he has friends that commit crimes. He has friends that over the years, I've been here since 2012, so I've seen every single thing, right? I've been the fly on the wall for too long. He has friends that commit crimes, and he hasn't brought them to justice. Right? And these are the same friends that when it was okay to publicly donate that dirty money to his ass, right? It is what it is. I speak freely because I'm stainless, and I know that anybody barks up my tree is only going to expose the hierarchy of nonsense that's been going on since I think even before I jumped into this game, right? So it's better. You'll never see these guys come at me. You'll never see these guys come at me. Because why? They know if they play with me, how I can get down. Regardless, and it's unfortunate. But the reason why I brought him up is like, if you think that he's doing God's work, wait till you see what's about to unfold. A lot of these guys that have committed crimes with a smile on their face, looking so innocent and for the people, have done treacherous stuff to the people that looked at them as a figure to trust, to follow, to help guide them through this nonsense we call Web3. Right? A lot of people are going to get exposed to this, man. And they don't even make it that hard. You You see them retweeting and reposting each other and clicking in. Come on, guys.
You know, on that last point, I was very close to making a tweet about Open Human today because I was buying it. You know, I'm trying to be more active and like trading using the base app. In fact, Goya in the audience, he actually like DM'd me the other day saying like, "Bro, are you trenching? Like, I keep getting these notifications like Base Junkie bought like some of this that." But yeah, I'm trying to get back into trading because it seems like there's an opportunity here on AI coins and Base, and it didn't have the same sort of ruggy nature of Solana. But I think I'm going to take a little pause on the trading for a couple, at least for the day, maybe a day or two, because like I think emotionally you make bad trades, and also like I might even take longer off. I think it's so rotational, and it's just like none of these are really like long-term holds. But like I have my long-term conviction plays, not even play. I can't even call it a play. I have my Bitcoin short position. Yeah, I don't. I think this is just time to like pad the nest a little bit more if it's possible before the next leg down, and then it's like okay, gather stock of what you have, and then we can healthily move up. But yeah, I was very close to retweeting that token, which turned out to be an absolute rug, and that would have really sucked because I lost $1,000 today, and anybody who checks my wallets will see like, yeah, you did, you suck, and I wouldn't want to have that reputation of like tweeting rugs. So I think it was just fortunate timing, fortunate that I wasn't at the computer to make that tweet. Unfortunate I was at my phone to make that trade, but
and that's a responsibility a lot of people should take when they're pushing out. Like if I lead my friends or my followers into this, if it goes left, and am I able to take that, and am I able to make amends? Like, am I willing to take the responsibility and be accountable for what I've done? And imagine if you would have put that post out today, and then within hours, we saw what happened with that coin. People would have been like, "That's not a coincidence, man." Like, I trusted Base Junkie. That wasn't a coincidence, man. The timing on that, man. I put my last 200 in that. Put my last 1,000 into that, man. That hurts, And I'm glad that you, divine intervention, right? That you weren't able to make that post. I know you were trying to, just give the people alpha and try to help people out. But I'm glad that it just didn't align for you to make that post. Because as we saw, it didn't end out well for that coin. And that's not the only coin, man, right? Like, it's not the only coin. We even seen the feds launching coins. Like, literally the FBI has launched a coin and arrested like a bunch of market makers recently, right? We got
really? I completely missed that.
Yeah, man. They put some coin called like AI Fund or something like that out, and like every market maker that agreed to market make for the coin got arrested. Yeah, man.
Wow. I saw the only thing that I saw this week similar to that was Nikita Beer. He was reaching out to like some promo guys on Telegram, and he's like, "Hey, can you help blow up my account? Like all this stuff." Sure. What? And he's like, "What accounts do you use for like the impressions?" Oh, here's my Twitter page, and then he's like blocked. Sorry, suspended.
He just suspended those accounts.
Yeah, can you tell me like which of the accounts you're working with? Okay, cheers. And he made a tweet about it. He's like, and like literally on his, he's like, which account do you want us to help blow up? And then he sends his real one, like Nikita Beer, like head of product of X, and he's like, yeah, great. You give me some money, and I'll I'll amplify your tweets.
Yeah, never trust Nikita Dragon, bro. Banker got hacked again.
Yeah. Okay, I have some thoughts on that, but I want to hear yours first.
Sloppy work, and it's like it's it's a lot of newfound hackers attacking low hanging fruit with the assistance of AI. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad that the response team is pretty proactive and they didn't get to become triple digit wallets affected or something like that. But still a lot of money that was taken. Bankers said they're gonna reimburse and handle it, but it's just like it's not a good look back to back hacks, and I don't think it's gonna be the last one. You know, and that this has to be kind of like a message, a learning lesson for a lot of people that are dealing with artificial intelligence and these bots and trying to like showcase them to the world to be like a service class or service some type of form of assistance. Yeah, man, it's not a good look. You know, I'm still rooting for the Banker team, truly, but it's really not a good look, man, at all.
See, I know Igor of Banker. He made a really good tweet the other day, on the back of this, and I agree. It's with AI. There's more opportunities and there's more ability to speed run builds, good and nefarious, and I guess it was another case of AI agent like injection prompting, agent to agent, and 14 wallets were affected. Like that sucks. People losing money sucks. They said it was like 200K. Pardon?
Like it was like 272K, like over a quarter million.
Was it okay? Maybe there's an extra wallet. I'm just trying to find that tweet because oh yeah, here it is. Let me share my screen real quick. So yeah, the that was an unfortunate situation. Sucks. But what made me bullish on the aftermath is 6 a.m. unauthorized transactions detected on a few banker wallets. 7 a.m. the entire team's on a call. By 11 a.m. the team had shut down the attack, contacted security partners, tracked affected wallets, communicated reimbursements, and started hardening banker going forward. Really great to see the team unity. Banking season just getting started. Like that. This part. I mean, this part of 6 a.m. it happened. By 11 a.m. they had they
patched it, they took care of it.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty fast response.
No, so, that's why I said like the response team was pretty like for the second time, like they're reactive pretty well, like
reactive and also articulating this in public.
Yeah,
like I think it's easy to like when you fuck up.
Yeah,
like it's like, oh, I don't want to face the music. It's easy to just hide away for a little bit, but
the best thing to do is jump in front of it.
Exactly. I think they've handled the situation correctly.
They got good PR training, man. I'll tell you that they got good PR training, man. Definitely get some groundwork, man. I'm gonna be that guy, man, because I don't, I made my bags. Like it is what it is. Like I'm gonna be that guy, like. Banker season just getting started, like a bull post after a severe hack. Like it did. Now, imagine if there was like 100 wallets affected. They took off $250,000 real quick, and they didn't even need that many wallets. They knew exactly what their targets were, and they wham bam, thank you, ma'am. I think that this is not going to be the last time that we're going to see a double back on Banker. And they're going to keep slamming Banker. I don't know if this is like an opposing team or just some hungry Pajeets out there just like cracking this thing. But there's only, how many more hacks does Banker have? Like, give me a number. How many more hacks do they have till they lose some type of faith with their community? Some type of like, hey, man, when it comes to Banker, because Banker uses Privy. A lot of people don't know Privy, Privy as their underlying provider for their wallets, right? So it seems like Privy is pretty solid. Privy didn't get compromised in the situation. The compromisation is coming directly again from Banker, right? So it's just like, how many more can the community endure before they're like, hey, wait a minute, man. Like, it's just this is an amateur night, or is this like a airtight team that deserves these M's? Like, I don't know.
See,
I know people make
I think the banker team will continue to have the support of the community as long as they continue to communicate and get out in front of these situations, articulate and patch them, and actually like steps are moving forward. That's one thing. And then also if they actually have enough funds to reimburse the hacks. This was a $250,000, but we know banker is making stacks.
Yeah.
I remember they were making over $1 million a day in trading fees when it was like the Malt Book open close situation. I don't know what it is now. It's the AI season, but really, banker was the catalyst to reignite base this year. So I think a lot of people are, hold banker in high regard, and as long as there aren't victims in the end, like they can get reimbursed and they keep communicating. I don't think the community will turn on them, and I think they're doing great communication up until now.
Yeah, I think the community that they have right now is just people with underwater bags that are probably at a loss right now. And they're rooting for them, hoping that they bring it home. This is crypto, man. I've seen some dynamic guys fall victim to this situation, and I've seen communities, as soon as the next shiny thing pops up, they're dumping their bags. Perfect. I love this scenario, the Trump coin. We saw people dump coins on different chains, trying to get to that Trump coin. I'm talking about different chains. We're beyond base. We're talking about like even Sui, even
All
like
chains.
even like like it was just chains that you never like. People have money over there. They were just letting them. They were just clipping them to get inside that Trump coin. So it kind of shows the overall psychological state of the trenches, right? It kind of shows that the loyalty is very fickle. It's not as cemented as it should be behind these projects that deserve it. The teams that have been cranking out dynamic things and even probably put an imprint and change the game forever. They don't really get the true support that they need. They're just a bunch of people praying that they get to run it back to exit their bags. I get it.
So what fundamentally do you think needs to change for us to mature as a community and traders?
I just think that expectations need to be higher. No one needs to say the obvious that we're here to make money. We all know that, right? We hear the stories about the millionaires overnight that put lunch money in and now they don't have to work. We hear these glory stories, but I think there needs to be every time I think that the space is maturing, it shows me that it's not, right? We're not actually treating this as a truly valued asset class of a technological renaissance of innovation. We're still hoping that Caterpillar Sonic Obama 3000 go through the roof. This shit is dumb. We have to stop identifying with degeneracy, first and foremost. Degeneracy is an excuse to scam. Degeneracy is an excuse to be like, yeah, herpes coin is going to go through the roof right now. Yeah, like we got to raise up our expectations. If you in the trenches stand on a unified front, or overall the psychological state flips that, hey, even the scams got to have some type of use case. Even the scams got to bring some type of utility, because these scammers be coming up with crazy concepts. They just rather take the bag and run, right? So it's got to come to an expectation where like you have to show me a working product. You have to show me something that I can be like, oh yeah, this actually makes sense why I will put my money behind. I think it starts with the consumer versus the developer. Criminals are going to be criminals no matter what, right? But if you had a certain level of expectations, you'll kind of filter a lot of the BS already, but we fall for the wash trading. We fall for the artificial pumps, not really looking at wallet tracing and bubble maps and really understanding that, hey, it shot up to $1 million market cap, $10 million market cap, but it's only coming out of 3-4 wallets. It's coming out of a bunch of these wallets, and they all have been moving simultaneously at the same time. These wallets were just made yesterday. Like it comes to like actually dialing in on that DYOR. You have to equip yourself with the knowledge to know what to look for, and then equip yourself with the resources to get there, the URLs, the tools, the actual wallet tracing and understanding what you're looking at. This is why people are able to get away with this, because they're taking advantage of a group of people that are not tech savvy. They're just like, they understand the bare minimum, how to put their money in, right? How to put their money in, but they don't really know much beyond that, beyond the peer-to-peer. And that's the problem. That learning curve is so steep at this point, and we need to actually abruptly update it and give people the tools to succeed, right? People need to dial in on the tools to succeed. Nansen, GMGN. We need BunkBot before it got hacked. Like, we really need the tools to succeed here, and that's what people are lacking. If a contract is launched, you need to be looking and checking your P's and Q's to see if it's being launched by a dirty deployer that has rugged several other times, or is there any affiliation here, right? And these scammers are going to get smarter, right? They're going to get smarter, but as they get smarter, at the end of the day, they're going to commit crimes. So at the end of the day, their intentions will always be shown, and that's how we always learn, right? But until we start learning, these things are always going to keep happening,
Yeah, I think it's a good point as well. Like, we often call ourselves like degenning, but the truth is, I wouldn't really say I'm not a degenerate, even though I'm
nasty. That sounds when you say the whole thing.
A degenerate junkie. Yeah. Like, it's a lot of, yeah. I mean, that doesn't sum up me.
Propaganda, my brother. They made calling yourself a degenerate cool, and they're laughing at people. People don't understand that they're laughing at you because you're like, oh, I'm a degen. I'm so cool. I'm a degen. Like, you think it's a way of acceptance amongst your peers, not realizing, like, say the whole fucking word. Say the entire word and see, do you still have that same emotion? I'm a degenerate.
Yeah, it's powerful, actually. But yeah, I guess as a industry, we need to really take ourselves, a long, hard look in the mirror, and just be like, actually, I'm not a degenerate. I'm not exit liquidity. It's kind of like that meme, even, just you are not exit liquidity. You're not like, we're builders. We're trying to build cool stuff, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show, and why I'm really doubling down on like Fireside Media to get information out there, support builders, because at the end of the day, it's impossible. It's an impossible task to expect from the top down, from like the Coinbase team, to be able to spotlight the projects, and it's the same on all the chains. But like, if we're like here somewhere in the middle, and like you're a great builder, I want to support Swiper. I want to keep up to date with what you're building, and then other builders are building great stuff, and we like, this is our network.
Yeah.
Then like, we like shoulder to shoulder. We're not letting ruggers and scammers in, and like this cohort can actually like, I know that guy. I know that project. That's someone who I believe in, and that's a project that has potential. And that's kind of where we can shift from this degenerate self defaming, like we're self-debasing. We're debasing ourselves, calling ourselves degenerates, really.
Yeah, man. It's propaganda at its finest, man. Just like how they used to say, instead of LOL, they used to say KEK. People didn't know what Ket came from, man. Like, they don't know that they're referencing an Egyptian god, a non-binary fraud god, like of chaos and wisdom and all. They don't understand like how deep the trenches really go. When you're moving the smoke and mirrors out the way, when you're actually invited to these private chats, when you're actually seeing how things get done, it's some fuckery beyond it's some evil people in this game, man. It's some horrific people in powerful positions. And I don't understand how people don't get that, man. And I don't think a lot of people will, because it's what travels faster. Hopium, the hope of getting rich fast for doing basically nothing. That travels versus saying, hey, this project over here covers A, B, and C, and it's been building for this amount of times, and they're adding this. Like, it's overwhelming for your average user because they're not trained investors, right? It's easier for them to say, I'm a degenerate. I'm doing degenerate stuff. So when I lose, I don't feel as bad, because my friends lose money too. We're all degenerates. Like, after a while, you get broken down. You're like the Wojak meme, like, it's like you got to wake up at some point. I want to get behind things that make sense. I want to keep up with things that are relevant. Like, I'm peeping when we're talking about AI and this whole base renaissance fact of evolution and evolving into positioning yourself culturally. Venice AI, right? Eric Voorhees, right? Not enough people are talking about that project. Like, I actually got $250,000 for holding his Shapeshift Fox token when he released VVV. He did an airdrop of VVV coins. You got positions of products that are trying to take a stance of preserving natural rights, not becoming dictators, and they're trying to find that middle ground where you can use this technology to your heart's desire, to the advancements, right? When I look at Venice AI, for example, if I was a bad actor, I could create malware assisted by that, right? But it's just like a gun. It depends on who hands is in, right? It can save lives, it can destroy lives. And I think that's one thing why I respect about what Eric is doing over there. And there's a whole lot of factoring in when it comes to AI coins, but I can tell you this much, guys: the best AI coins, the best coins dealing with robotics, the best coins that are dealing with data, they're not out yet, right? They're not out yet, and they will be out in the next cycle, the next bull run. There will be a few coins that you see that will make it through. Some coins won't. It is what it is. Some coins won't make it to the height of what they did in the last cycle, and we didn't even get an all season, right? But I can tell you this, and I've been seeing this, and this is my prediction. I think the next actual all season will be arguably one of the biggest all seasons that we have ever gotten, because we missed the all season this cycle. Alts versus Bitcoin have been on a steady decline for a long time. Bitcoin dominance is increasing, stablecoin dominance is decreasing, and stablecoins has been a huge factor of a safe haven for people in this bear market, and it's still decreasing in dominance. The writing's on the wall, guys, that we've been suppressed for so long. Ethereum price was suppressed by the Ethereum Foundation, Vitalik, all of them constantly dumping as soon as we get close to 4K. It's so much stuff that's been suppressing the all season that I definitely feel that once we fundamentally get one, which I feel like is going to probably be in this cycle or the AI cycle after this, it's probably going to be the last hurrah, one of the big bang. It's probably going to be one of the biggest explosives all season that we have ever seen. Now, will it be short-lived? Possibly. It may not last as long as they usually do, but it's probably going to be one of the most explosive ones that we've ever seen, truly. So guys, if I were you, I'll be figuring out, how do I take advantage of all the moving variables? Am I getting involved in pre-fi? You saw that Polymarket is now filing for parlays now. So now we're seeing that you can make predictions with multiple outcomes for different predictions and bundle them in. So you don't have to be siloed to just one prediction. You can combine them as a parlay, right? We're seeing the game evolve and change. We're seeing where the money's going. What are you doing about it? This is to our viewers. What are you personally doing about it to position yourself to be on a reciprocating end of that?
Yeah. Mic drop. Honestly, I think we said it before. Capital preservation is key, especially in this market of chop. I've allocated some of my portfolio to trading. I'm trying to be, capitalize on some of these moving tokens, because it's boring. It's boring to be holding stagnant tokens. Like my two largest positions aren't stable coins, but they act like them. Like they're just they're where they are, and sometimes you go up 5%, sometimes down 5%, but like seeing all these runners, it's alluring. But at the end of the day, capital preservation is key. Don't rotate out of your conviction holds into flash in the pan projects. I mean, yeah, exactly as you said, people were full porting from other chains to this Trump token. Everyone thought that was going to be the savior of crypto. Our crypto president is going to back treasury bonds are now backed by Trump tokens, or vice versa. Like just like all the pie in the high hopium and expectations were just shook people out of real projects into vaporware, presidential vaporware. And yeah, it happens on a daily basis. And unfortunately, today was the first rug I've seen on base in a minute, apart from that sleeping giant. But it is an indicator to me that the times are getting a bit desperate. There's max rotation happening, limited liquidity, and people are it's PvP right now. And I don't really like the PvP side, because although I'm not a saint, I'm not trying to just get one over on someone else who's trying to make a buck as well. It's like there's other ways to make money. But yeah, capital preservation is key. So trade now with caution would be my advice.
100%. We also seen that this technology is going beyond the tokens that we all adore and invest our livelihood in. Now we're seeing the talks is getting more serious about tokenizing stocks now, and like seriously trading stocks on chain with official stocks recognized by our governments, right? I saw some talks about that earlier this week, and it's like now it's starting to ramp up, and it's starting to make sense. Why that will be the next move, because the Nasdaq itself is positioning to be 24/7 now, right? There won't be closing periods on these assets anymore, right? This is where quantum trading starts to become a thing. This is where people start gearing up and start suiting for battle, because they know that the money is changing, and they can't get bucked off the bull. They got to stay on this thing at all costs. I saw also the talks when we were on the quantum side that Bitcoin is at a huge risk for quantum computing, right? People are speculating that the Satoshi wallet that has 1.1 million Bitcoin in it, the Bitcoin core development team has to figure out something to protect that wallet, because that is going to be, if hackers get a hold of that, the first thing they're going to do with those Bitcoin is dump them. And that can cause that could set us back years of progress when it comes to price movement, not only for Bitcoin, but the entire ecosystem. BNB put out a post just last week. They're already upgrading their BNB chain to be quantum resistant, right? They're already gearing up for this threat, because that is the next wave, quantum computing, right? I feel that, data centers are in a bubble right now, right? Kind of like how the telephone versus the telegram, right? We're seeing a lot of people are buying into data centers and converting mining rig warehouses into data centers to kind of support the infrastructure of AI. But I definitely feel that overall, somebody's going to come up a way to downsize the need for that type of computing power into just make it into phones, right? To make them into light devices to run large language learning models, right? So I definitely feel like if anybody's starting to really gung ho for data centers right now, just know what you're doing, because it's costly and it might not be the best move for you, right? If anything, you should be investing on what comes next beyond the need for data centers, right? How can I cut that cost down and still have the same competing output? That's going to be the next thing. So there's a lot of things on our
talking about the Bitcoin chain and Satoshi's wallet. Did you hear the conversation about possibly was like redoing the whole Bitcoin chain. It was one of like an early developer, a core contributor, early days. He was proposing like we do a new cash like model where now your Bitcoin is on this chain, and then like they would retrieve all of the dead wallets.
That's kind of a weird thing. It sounds like a fork. I know that Bitcoin has done a rollback in the past. So it's ETH, which caused, and then they also did the split of Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. I don't know if you can get everybody on board for something like that. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to retrieve all the dead Bitcoin. I think there's more negative cons to this. There's more cons than pros to this by doing something like this, and it's not such an easy feat as people naturally would expect. You have to get everybody on board with that. I don't think it's possible. I don't think that they're going to get that done. I think they should be more concerned about quantum resistance, if anything, and to like safe haven and bulletproof what they have already versus trying to like digital time travel and correct mistakes of the past. Like, come on, guys. Like, you need to be looking at what's coming down the pipeline, because if not you, bad actors will. And bad actors will use it how they please. So, yeah, I don't think that's reality.
I also don't think it's a great idea. I think, if you're buying Bitcoin now at 77,000 under the pretense that this is the market price because there's actually 18 million Bitcoin, not 21 mil, and then they say, oh, we're just going to increase supply by an extra 3 mil because those are the ones that are gone. It's like, well, hang on, that changes the context. This was the proposal. I didn't catch it on Facebook, just FYI, but it's called a Bitcoin-based eCash network, an airdrop mechanism, basically to like just to redistribute all the lost funds and airdrop to Bitcoin holders. And I mean, yeah, I think this was a month ago. I don't think it's gained traction, thankfully. But
people want free Bitcoin. It's like you're volunteering people funds that you assume maybe they're locked out or dead. Like, it may take people years to get back into their funds. We just saw somebody finally get back into their Bitcoin while they're using Claude, right? So come on, like, you trying to volunteer other people's Bitcoin to airdrop to all holders. Like, they're playing a dangerous game. Like, when you're playing with other people's money, you got to be real careful. You got to be real careful what you do.
Also, like, how would, if there was a fork and you're like, okay, look, everyone, guys, let's all use this. We're going to airdrop 2 million Bitcoin to everybody. Okay. And these will be valued at the same price as real Bitcoin. Okay. But what's it backed by? Like, who's putting up the Bitcoin to back it, to peg it? Like, I'm not doing that. No one's like, who's going to do that?
I don't know. It takes money. It takes money to do these type of crazy things and make sure that everybody's on the right chain. Got to have the majority of the nodes on the same page with you. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know who got that type of dough.
I mean, BlackRock's the answer. BlackRock. It would have to be BlackRock or MicroStrategies or the Lazarus Group. If they unlock Satoshi's wallet, then they'd have enough to create a whole new chain.
Yeah, North Korea already proved they don't care about crypto. They'll set this whole thing up on flames if they can get a couple million, bro. A couple billion, millions. They'll do the numbers. So it's a scary time with that, man. Truly, man. I don't. It's time is of the essence where the good guys have to like bulletproof things, or it's gonna be a bad wipeout. You're just gonna wake up and everything is just gonna be zero. Everything's gonna be like horrible because of just a simple quantum attack, right? A simple quantum attack. The irony of that statement, but if you don't, as I always say, a specimen that can't adjust to its environment shall cease to exist. And Bitcoin has to adjust to the incoming of quantum computing. You know, we're it's closer than ever, right? It's closer than it was several years ago, and it's at the point that you're seeing chains already making adjustments for what's coming out of the pipeline, right? Because they know that this is a possibility now. So
Yeah, it's not a possibility; it's a inevitability. It's just who's going to be quantum resistant when it comes. I mean, it's a scary thought because I can't even fathom what quantum resistance even means. But understanding that some projects and chains are already working on this is like, okay, well, look, clearly you guys must understand this, but how? Like, I don't understand how small time founders can even start making steps.
uh, you it basically just be on the coattail of these bigger entities and try to catch anything that's open source and just keep up with the majors at that point, or be tapped into some type of forum where they're already experimenting on some type of form of quantum computing, quantum digital entanglements, and stuff like that, and see if you can get involved. You know, that's the only way. Truly, a lot of guys are just going to be at a standstill waiting for open source, resources so that they can like actually update and compete and keep up with the majors. Honestly, that's just what it is. You know, the little guy don't really have much to say when giants are tumbling around like that. You know, you just kind of like got to maneuver in a certain way and build accordingly to something that's very flexible that can embrace new profound tech that's coming out. That's the only real way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, just before we close this out, can like I'm trying to think because it's been quite a fair bit of doom and gloom. I don't know. Are you able to? Can you put up the Bitcoin chart? Can you like give us your analysis? Maybe there's some good news for the longers or the shorters, or are we crab walking for another week? Also, while Tori's looking for this, let me just say everything we say is for entertainment purposes. Nothing's financial advice. This is just two guys cutting through the noise.
Yeah, definitely. I was looking at Ethereum because Ethereum just got rejected, and that was a hard rejection. So we're going to see same thing that's happening to Bitcoin. We're seeing. So if you're shorting the market, you're ahead of the next guy. You're ahead of the average Joe that doesn't see this. You're ahead of the bull tarts. I do see that on a 9-day frame. So we're talking like 3 days or higher. That there is a chance of a continuation of a pump up for us to go a little bit higher to try to see if we can get back up to the 89, 90K range. But we're facing some rejection, and we might can see it continue on with Bitcoin. Let's go to the 30-day market. Let's see. Yeah, so we're definitely in a good position. If you're on Bitcoin right now, you definitely can see a continuation of steady increases going higher. But as you can clearly see, overall, the bears are in still full control. It's just that we're just seeing some recalibration, and we might see a little run. You know, we might see a little run. This is the longest versus the previous 2 to 3 other cycles that Bitcoin's been staying and holding up its bullish momentum when it should be gassing out at this point. It should just be already getting ready to just take the next leg down or already initiate the next leg down. But in fact, it's actually counter trading that and actually going against the grain. So we do see some short-term bullish momentum. I don't see this going long-term, obviously, for obvious reasons, because we're not out the woodworks yet. But yeah, if you're shorting it, I wouldn't close positions. I'll just let this thing weather out. But if you're a bull tar right now, this is looking like a bullish setup currently. But we don't know how long this can last, right? We're definitely seeing that Bitcoin wants to go to the 90K range. It wants to play around 93. Let's see if it can get through that feat. The first embrace that we need to watch out for is the 83K range. So let's just call it 80K. Once it starts crossing back into the 80K, we might see some turbulence, and that's where we might see a strong rejection or a breakthrough of resistance and actually converting that resistance into short-term support. But as we see on other assets, like when I go back to ETH, it's chow mein already, right? We're giving up the ghosts already. Alts are in a bad place right now, and we might see a continuation for steady length before we start seeing the next signal on the monthly is a buy signal, right? So that means that we might be printing a buy signal, and we got this sell signal back in October of last year, right? So we're long overdue for a buy signal. So we might get that right now. It might be just an influx to continue to leg down. But either way, we're getting close to the bottom, guys, as you can clearly see when it comes to ETH. That's why I keep telling you guys, ETH under $2,000 is the buy trigger. You know, $1,800 ETH, $1,700 ETH, you're dealing with something that you need to like go ape shit in, balls to the walls, and take advantage of that discount. Because you're not going to see these prices around the 1,400, 1,500 range. I don't think we're going to see that. That'll be by the grace of God. But if so, that will probably arguably be the bottom itself. So we're not that far when it comes to ETH to the bottom. I say that in a couple more months, we'll be actually sorting through this. So I would say take it easy on the summer, vacation, come back by the end of the summer. We're talking about August, start gearing in. September, you should be already getting locked in or be locked in and take advantage of this next bull run, man. I don't think it's time yet. I think that we still need to leave that baby in the oven. But again, when I'm looking at Bitcoin in the same time frame, we're seeing a bullish setup for the short term. Definitely for the short term. This could be a feint. This could be a bull trap. To me, it definitely looks like a bull trap. But I cannot ignore when I'm seeing key signals saying that we're closing in on a potential buy signal, right? We're correlating with key estimated moving averages, bounced off of it, and now we're trying to see how we're faring out with this one. So 200 days, the 50 days, 21, they're playing like magnets in this scenario, and I would just keep it very close. I wouldn't go all in, guys. I'll keep my leverage very low on Bitcoin, and I will be trying to either stock for a short if I don't have a good position locked in when Bitcoin was much higher, or I'll be trying to just scrape up a couple of dollars on this coming week, because we might see a little shoot up before we see another tank down. So that's pretty much my take. I'm still saying it's a bear market. I'm still saying that we lost key ground and that we just need to calm down, guys. Yo, my dog is acting crazy right now.
Well, I think then it's a perfect time to put a nice ribbon on this. I definitely do appreciate the TA, and I'm sure people watching do as well. I'm rooting for the price to go up a little bit more, because although I have one short, it's a small short position, and I have larger ones as we head towards the 82, 83, 84K range. And then I think that'll be enough. I think I'm just doing 10x leverage, so we would really need to be pushing past 90K for them to get squeezed. But I think that's kind of, I think I'm listening to Dr. Profit and your analysis. He's saying he reckons between 79 and 85 is the local top, and what you're saying is slightly similar, maybe a push up to 90.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I might put like one long short at like 89K, see if I can catch that.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing money coming back into the market. We're definitely seeing money popping up into the market. So is it enough? I don't think it will be. I think that is just it's gonna basically take any bull tar that's on the table still and take them out real bad. So guys, just if anything, I'll be more bullish on the stocks, on stock side, when it comes to anything related to military contracts and vaccine distributions and developments, Modernas and all that stuff. I'll be looking at how they're faring out. I will be looking at what stock our congressmen are buying into, politicians are buying right now, right? I will be looking more into those while I sit this thing out and wait for Bitcoin to find a strong footing and a full ground so that we can see things go parabolic. That would be my take, truly.
So we have Robin in the audience saying structure is bearish, but the macros are changing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. That's what I'm saying. We're seeing influx of money coming in. This could be short lived. Just like I keep telling you guys, when we were in a bull run, the price just didn't shoot up. We had pullbacks, we had retracements. Same thing when we're on our way down. We're going to have pop ups, right? We're going to have some type of retracements to the upside. But naturally, we can see who's in control of this thing, right? We can naturally see that it's not over. The bloodbath is not over. Bears still have more gas in the tank than the Bulls. It's not over yet, but we've gotten through a good majority of it, right? If you were already seeing this bear market forming from the Q4 of last year, we've gotten through a lot of the thick of it, and it's been quite lovely. It's been more stagnant and more boring, if anything, right? Maybe it's because of missing the all season that a lot of people didn't buy in at a much higher prices, so they didn't get wrecked as bad. So it seems very docile, but fair game is truly like, it's a great opportunity just to be compiling your list, seeing if any of those things are still holding weight and relevance in these seasons without actually spot buying them. And when it comes down to Q4 this year, what is going to be relevant? What is still going to be on your list? What's still going to be checking off all the boxes that you're willing to have some conviction and throw your resources behind? That'll be the question for anyone out there, but I'm definitely seeing that, like I said, Hamas might be opening it back up. We're seeing that, Israel just basically wants to control the oil coming out of the Middle East. They want to control 40% of the world's oil supply, which is a crazy, crazy position, because that means like world dominance at that point. We're seeing the virus that can play a black swan, and we know what happens at the black swan. Everything gets sent to Valhalla, right? Which I hope we don't have a lockdown or a shutdown situation, but people are not keeping up with that as well, right? So we're seeing a lot of variables that can and will affect the market if they come out to flourish. So I don't think that this is the time to get so bullish. I think this is the time to trade cautiously, tread lightly, and just give it time. I think that Base Junkie, what he said was probably arguably the best thing. I'm going to take a couple of days off, right? I'm going to take probably even a bit longer. Come back next week. If things haven't really changed, you didn't miss anything. If anything, you still have your money in your pocket, right? You're still here to fight another day to get to your goals, right? Versus getting completely wrecked and wiped out.
That's it, man. Capital preservation is key. Trade with caution. I think that's been the sentiment of the show. Tora, I always appreciate the real talk and the TA, and just cutting through the noise. Because right now, in these choppy markets, I mean, last week I showed you two things. One calling for this a bull trap, and the other saying the bull run just started. It's like it's wild. It's wild to see the varying opinions, but opinions like assholes. Everybody has one. But thank you for keeping it real another week. Do you have any closing words?
Yeah, guys. As usual, click on Base Junkie's affiliate link, check out Swiper, make a profile, give feedback, get involved. Swiper is unveiling to be something that a lot of people did not expect it to be. In the meantime, enjoy all our entertainments, all of our working applications on our super app. And we're just cooking up. Right now we're doing some private client service jobs, and it's just basically keeping the lights on. Definitely, what we're building with Swiper is very dynamic. We're actually doing a demo of one of our newest products on Swiper, which is a copy trading system, pretty soon. So that's privately for the team to take advantage of, and to make good resources of. But we're definitely going to be cooking up. So definitely www.swiper.xyz. That's Swiper SWIPR.xyz. Click the link, make a profile. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for tuning in, guys, as always.
Boom. Absolutely. And yes, definitely do check out swiper.xyz. A big shout out to Mumville as well. Thank you for another epic show. Thank you for all the support, Mumville. You're awesome. Truly a real one. And to everybody who tuned in, we just passed the 3,200 mark as we draw a nice bow on this. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. GMT +1, 12:30 p.m. PST. I'll be doing the end of week roundup with a bunch of builders. sharing what they're working on, and then just continuing the conversation. So we'll see you there on Spaces. That will be on X. So until next week, we are doing these every Thursday, 1 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. GMT +1. We'll see you over on Swiper. We'll see you on the Spaces next week, and of course, we'll see you next week. Anyway, too many words. All right, guys. Enjoy your evenings. Stay safe, stay healthy, but most importantly, stay based. Peace out.
I'm a baseline junkie. I'm a baseline junkie. Tell him again. I'm a baseline junkie. Tell him again. And I like it funky.